Hey everybody, welcome to the Tesla Life, episode 25 for October 18th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I have the pleasure of being your host for another week in the Tesla Life. But luckily for you, I have with me two of my favorite comrades in Tesla arms. They are, we're all wearing red. Did we plan this?
It's the Tesla Life, right?
Yeah. Oh, I see. It's a Tesla.
Yeah, that must be it.
We have to have better pre-show production meetings. Oh wait, we don't have.
So anything would be better, correct?
Yeah, anything would be better. Well, we'll have one after this show. So the man in the bright red Nike sweatshirt, our man in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We've got a number of great stories, and as always, there's always something happening in the Tesla world. So exactly. It could be Russell dancing with his hands. It could be many things. What was that? The frame thing?
Soundtrack. It's soundtrack to my life. It's just making me happy here.
He moves to California and suddenly he's voguing.
Yeah, he's voguing.
Thank you, Lee. All I can say is thank you for the great theme music. And the man who just outed me as being a Californian is our man in Illinois, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, hi, everybody. That's about all I got. There you go.
Well, we have a lot of fun news stories for you this week, as you might have imagined. So let's get on it because we do have some stuff. I think Mark's going to kick us off with some activity at Tesla HQ.
Yeah, some activity in Fremont, California. Last Friday, somewhere between 400 and 700 people got their final notice that they were being let go from either HQ or the Fremont factory itself. So it was kind of a surprise notice, obviously, to some people. There were some interviews of people leaving and about, people saying, well, I was only late 3 times. I can't see why I was given this notification. But Tesla explains it as just a year-end performance review. And of course, if you've got a company that's got 30,000+ people working for it, there are those fluctuations, there are those performance reviews, and you've got people coming in and out. Tesla also indicated that the positions that had been reduced will be refilled by new people. So I don't know what to think of that. It just sounds a lot at once. I'm not sure if this happened last year. I don't recall a story like this with this type of a mass firing. But they claim that it's quite normal and that they will be rehiring these positions as the days go along. So I don't know what to think.
So for the record, Mark?
Yep.
Yes, this is an annual Tesla thing. Now, why they think it's a good idea to dump hundreds of people at one time is beyond me. I gotta question that, but yeah, apparently this is not an unusual occurrence. This is an annual thing.
So it's like the annual, what do they call it? The thinning of the herd. Is that what it is? They lead them down and say, well, this many people that they're gone. That's it.
Bleeding and babbling, they lead us through corridors of steel. Yes. Exactly.
Oh, what's that from, Tony? That was good.
Seriously, what was that from?
I'm lost.
That was Pink Floyd. The album was Animals, and the song is Sheep.
Wow. Man, you got me with a Pink Floyd reference. I'm impressed and humiliated.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. So I'm going to stop sharing that little picture. I just thought that was the funny picture.
Yeah.
Some kind of protest somewhere in the East Bay, and someone did this, which honestly, as a method of protest, if you're writing on your windows, probably not like, you know what I mean? Like,
not effective? What are you saying?
I just want to say, well, you know what? In general, if you're communicating stuff and it's on your back window.
Well, he probably has more followers on the road.
We picked it up, did we not?
Yeah. It wasn't like, we were like, well, this is an indictment of the entire Tesla hiring system. I mean, I just made fun of the person. So, Yeah, I don't, you know,
if obviously you do get some, bad apples in a large corporation. Like you get that many people together and you get some people that aren't, they're not gelling, they're not doing what they should be doing all the time. That's quite normal. You're going to have that percentage, but go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, if it really was a performance thing, I get it. I could understand it. However, I mean, would it have to be done all at the same time? Could it have been staggered? And, I work for a large corporation, and yes, there are sometimes hundreds and globally could be thousands of people who are let go. But Tesla is not a huge global organization like that. I mean, it's a huge number. And yeah, I would be a little concerned if, this could be some cost savings. I mean, a lot of companies do that where they'll reduce their headcount, and which takes that expense off the books, and then it makes them look better on the P&L statement or whatever it is.
I would say that too, except for the fact that Tesla's already burning money like there's no tomorrow. So I don't think that number of employees is really going to affect the books in any great way, shape, or form. So that they're trying to get to the point where they're ramping up production of a car that, in volume, they're hoping, and as Wall Street is, that it will make the company very profitable.
So what do you give to the credence that some of the employees were talking about unionizing, handing out union materials? There's some reports that some of the people who are the most vocal were let go.
That would be interesting, because obviously Tesla is definitely against the union. There was another story just recently about them avoiding a union in Germany with a plant that they had purchased. So
is it upping the engineers' pay?
Yeah. So it's certainly something that it would be interesting to find out, or if it comes out that those were the people that were released in this grouping. I mean,
historically, California's a very employee-centered state, especially compared to most of the rest of the states in this country. So, if this is Tesla's way of dealing with that, I mean, again, 10,000 people in Fremont, let's just call it 700 or $1,000. 10% of your workforce, it's kind of a weird thing to do, but it's not unusual to lose 10% in a year. And if this is the way that Tesla decides to do it, I think
they just decide that the heartache gets all over at once. Right. Like it's like let's gather up some names, and then we're gonna have a Black Friday this day, and that's it.
Right. And I think the only thing that's interesting for me in this is that, again, Tesla's deep in Model 3 production issues, wrestling with problems, and to let go what could be upwards of 10% of your workforce in a single week, in the middle of that, it's, I mean, unless you really planned well, like hiring new people in advance and knowing you're going to get rid of this many, and it seems like that could be begging for problems. But whatever, I can't know what's going on in their minds.
Right.
No, but like Tony mentioned, it's kind of interesting that one, it happened all at once, and two, that it has been said that there were some union people that were, or one of the most vocal union people were included in that listing.
However, Matt in the chat room has pointed out, is there a law on the books, or is there any punishable thing? Is there anything what legally keeping someone from firing union organizers? Or is it just morally sort of something people, companies try to avoid?
I believe in, again, I believe in California, yes, it is not legal to do that for that reason.
Okay. And these are things I just simply
If you
don't
say,
know.
I fire you because you're a union organizer, you're probably going to be.
Yeah, I think that would really draw some attention.
Right. If you say, I fire you because your performance is poor, but you're a union
Uh-huh.
organizer, like if all the union organizers were suddenly gone, a company has to be very, very careful playing that game.
Right.
Yeah.
At least in California. Now, 2 other states that I've lived in that I'm a little familiar with, Pennsylvania or Florida, not a problem. They're right to work states, and it doesn't matter. So, I'm not supporting that. I'm just saying that there are different laws in different states, and yeah, I don't think you can fire union organizers just because they're union organizers.
Yeah. Illinois is a right to work state as well, and if you accidentally step on the shadow of a director, you could get fired for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think, in fact, they just kill you, don't they?
It depends on whether it was intentional or not. Depending on which way the sun is going and whether they walk into you. Right.
I just saw Blade Runner, so I might be a little excessively violent during this show. Sorry, I'm having trouble processing something. Well, speaking of processing things and industrial operations, there was an interesting story in Wired, and I say that with not a small amount of irony because I'm not a super big Wired fan. But hey, here it is anyway. The story is called Tesla's Secret Second Floor, and it's from a quote-unquote, I'm scrolling quickly here because it doesn't say. Greg Reichow, back channel. It's dated today and this morning. It doesn't say who it is, but the first sentence is, while working at Tesla. So apparently this is a former and or current Tesla employee. And it talks about the things that most people don't see. They go in, they see the first floor, they see a production line, but the second floor is apparently even more interesting in that this is where a lot of the quote-unquote secret stuff is made. The batteries are put together, the power electronics, the drivetrain systems. And in fact, one of the lines here that caught my eye is that the robots move at such high speeds, according to this article, that the arms needed to be built from carbon fiber instead of steel.
Because the steel bends.
I guess. I mean, I don't even I can't even imagine, right? Like, the inertia of I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting again that it's hard. We've seen a lot of production hell talk in the last few weeks since Tesla's come out and missed a lot of production goals. There's been a lot of talk of what's going on. Why? We talked about body panels not even being made in the factory and being shipped in. That it seems like a lot of Model 3 assembly is still very much by hand and not automated as they had intended. And then we hear about this new secret Oompa Loompa floor where Willy Wonka does all the magic apparently.
Well, some of the R&D is done up there, according to the article, where they're actually will build some of the parts. It's the machine that builds the machine, as quoted in the article. So they're up there designing things that will eventually make it to the factory floor. I'm sure the R&D is something that they are checking out all the time. With Tesla's ability to add to the car's abilities before the model year is out. I think that Elon has set the standard for Tesla that they are always innovating. If they come across something that makes sense, they won't wait for a model year to happen. They will make sure it works in the second floor, just work it into the actual assembly line procedure, and then implement it downstairs. So it's kind of like their own factory of I guess advancements that they can use and put into play, make sure it works, and then deploy it to the live actual production floor.
There you go. Yeah,
it is a very interesting article.
Yeah, it's cool.
They also mentioned that, of course, really nobody gets to go up there. Like the tour that you go on is, as mentioned, strictly the first floor. Yeah. You don't get up to the second floor. There was a note about a previous investor, or maybe current, but back in the early days when the factory started, 2012, he was able to go up as part of the tour, and I guess they took that out after some time. But even he had said that it was kind of, you definitely saw a difference between the first and second floor as to what was going on.
And I don't want to negate any of what we're talking about here in the article, but again, this is obviously currently a Tesla employee, so I mean, they're definitely going to be verbalizing the company line, or they wouldn't be a Tesla employee. They'd be a former Tesla. Yeah. I mean, we're going to get the Tesla party line here, and that's,
who knows? This guy might have been gone on Friday.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a cool story, and it's interesting to learn kind of how those things work, and that what it's not all about sort of the machines and the bots and stuff on the first floor. That there's other things going on.
Right.
This is a multi-level operation, folks.
Actually, if I could interrupt here, in the article, if you look underneath the first paragraph on the left. Greg Rochow is a partner at Eclipse Ventures. Previously, he was Tesla's VP of production, where he led growth from low-volume Roadster production to fully integrated manufacturing of the Model S and X.
He's got a lot invested.
I don't even see that.
You don't?
No, seriously, it's not on my page.
Do you think did you ad block it or something?
I could be.
But no, it says that he is no longer at Tesla. He was previously the VP of production.
Okay, well, good. Well, that helps. I mean, that at least informs us. And yeah, I mean, obviously the guy's probably whatever. I don't know that negates what he has to say, but transparency is important.
Yeah, he may have a few shares.
Yeah, our listeners and viewers can make their own judgment. Would somebody from Tesla say something that was, absolutely not true? Well, not if it was in Tesla's best interest. I didn't say that. Let's go to something that I can talk about. KQED Science, interestingly enough, reported on something taking place imminently. California's talking about extending their carpool lane stickers, and these are highly prized stickers. Understand that a vehicle qualifying for this in the state of California, by the way, one of the biggest car buying states in the United States, a car qualifying for one of these clean air, these green diamond lane stickers always sells more than a car similarly equipped, let's just say, although there aren't any, but without that sticker. When the sticker goes away, sales tend to drop down. People will buy a vehicle just to get access to that HOV lane. California, they're set to expire in 2019. And Jerry Brown is looking at, it looks like they passed AB 544. Brown's supposed to sign the bill, Governor Brown. And what it's talking about doing is stickers that were issued after 2019 will be valid for 3 years. And then a little bit more until January 1st of their 4th year. Stickers issued in 17 and 18 will be able to apply for a new sticker that's valid until 2022. And stickers issued before 2017, you're done. Sorry, you're out of the lane. Again, this is because of the traffic in California. These HOV stickers are a deal. That they mean something here. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, there's like you said, people do buy the car just to go in that lane. Like that's all they're after, is saving that 20 minutes or 30 or 40 minutes round trip on their commute by traveling the HOV lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So.
Now there is 2 types of stickers, correct, Russell? There's a green and a white.
Oh, there's, you know what? I would be lying if I said yes, there are more than one, but I don't know how many there are.
Because one signifies a plug-in, one signifies a BEV, And then maybe there was even a hybrid at one point.
Right. There was. There's a zero emission. There's a PZEV, a partial zero emission. And then there was a hybrid, which maybe there was just a 2. I honestly don't know. That's something we'll have to look up, and we'll get back to you next week on that. Let me give this context this story needs for this show. Clearly, the vehicles that Tesla makes are affected by this sticker. Okay? Make no mistake. Every Tesla vehicle gets one of these and makes the driver very, very happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing I do not like about these stickers, to be perfectly honest, is that
they're ugly.
They're ugly, and you are required to adhere them to your side bumpers on the paint. I don't like putting anything on the paint of my car.
Then you drive in the slow lane.
Right, I was just driving in the slow lane. That's the choice you have.
Yes, and then if when your sticker expires, you decide to take it off, you now have a section of your paint that didn't wear and fade the same as everything else. You now
but you got that nice goopy glue stuck to it too, so that's an extra bonus.
Yeah. Right. I don't know why you couldn't just do it in the window. Just put it in the window.
All I'm going to say is just think of all the hours you saved.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's talk about a different kind of performance issue. Not driving the V lane.
No, driving in the fast lane. It was rumored earlier in the week that that Tesla was in Fremont on their private track attached to their factory. That they were testing a Model 3 with performance abilities. So the P that you see in front of the badges of some of the S's and X's, the S stands for performance, was being tested apparently on the track. And our good friends from Model 3 Owners Club happened to have someone out there that could videotape this. Wow. And they caught the car out there on the track. And we're gonna roll a clip.
Look at that. It's going. It's not really going
in a circle.
Yeah, you really can't tell. Let's be honest.
Look at it. It looks like it's doing about 20 miles. Nope, slow.
It's stopping. Yeah. So what gave it away was, of course, the red brake calipers that come with performance vehicles. So those are standard issue on performance vehicles, and again, you really can't tell if it's doing anything spectacular just from the video.
Did they just put funny brake calipers on it?
Yeah, like they could paint normal ones, but I'm sure Tesla's not bothering to do that. This is probably some testing that they're running at their test track. And of course, it's been long rumored that, of course, the Model 3 will have a performance brother. So it's just one of the many options that are coming to the car that are being rolled out slower than everyone else hoped it would, but they're obviously building and ramping up so that they can do this effectively. And the performance model it's good to see that they are starting to test it because it will be released as well as an option. So everyone's excited to see the performance model added to the lineup that can be purchased.
Okay, so I just have to ask: does anybody, either you two or the hundreds of people in the chat room right now, does anybody find it even remotely odd that the person shooting the video is on the other side of the fence? The car comes around the bend, stops right freaking in front of them, not even off by any degree. There's time enough to zoom in on the wheels. And
there was no zoom in on the wheels. That was an after picture. That was a blow up.
Okay, so that was blow up. So they stop right in front of them and then do a dead acceleration.
So you saying that someone was on the take here? Someone?
I mean, the driver, they're on a berm or something in the middle of nowhere. The driver had to have seen them there.
Unless they were dressed as a bush.
It could have. You're right. It could have. They could have been dressed as W.
Yeah, you know what? Again, this sort of smells a little bit like the spy video press release that
Right.
they're not going to take credit for. Like, oh, what the hell? Okay, let's go out there and funnel this video to the Model 3 Owners Club, and they'll post it, and it'll be cool, and
Yeah, absolutely. That could be that absolutely could be what's going on, and I wonder if that will come out in the future from the Model 3 group, which is based here in Toronto. I'd be interested to know if they were tipped off or said, be out here at noon on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're watching the movie or whatever, and the guy's in the news office, and the phone rings, and you just hear, "We're going to be testing the car at the track. Wear your red coat."
Right. I just keep thinking of the Hyundai commercial where the three executives are out scamming the course before a test drive of one of the cars. Have you guys seen that on your end? Maybe that's maybe it's Canadian commercial that Hyundai runs, but like you've got a guy from the American company, you've got a Japanese guy, and you've got a guy from the German company, and they're out at the track hiding in tires and wheelbarrows, pretending that they're just hiding there to see this new car being shown on the test track. So kind of reminded me of that.
Sure, right? I mean,
yeah, obviously it's only a Canadian commercial. I was not aware.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, I like that. It's good. Well, Mark, guess what?
What?
When you get your Model 3, you'll be able to get something that you couldn't get before.
Right. That's correct.
Tesla is rolling out their Insure My Tesla program in North America. Previously, it was only available in Asia, if I'm not mistaken, and Australia, excuse me. Now they're rolling it out in the United States and in Canada, where you can get your insurance or get insurance on your very valuable Tesla vehicle directly through Tesla. It's run by Liberty Mutual in the U.S. and a company I'm not familiar with, Aviva, in Canada.
Right. Yeah, that was just announced this week, and there's mixed reviews on this, obviously, because of course insurance is a personal thing. It depends on your driving history, it depends on your record, it depends on a number of things. But a few people have posted comments about how they got on the horn and they called Liberty and gave them the information about how much it would be for them to insure their current Tesla, their S or their X with it. And man, the ones that came back, or the ones that were vocal about it, all of them seemed to think it was more expensive.
The Tesla.
Yeah. The Tesla insurance over, what they're using today. In fact, one gentleman, and again, this could be based on their driving style and such, but they are currently insured with Geico, and their quote was almost double.
Wow.
So there's really some wild different amounts that are attached to some of this insurance. So like anything, it's buyer beware. Definitely go out, get yourself a quote, figure out if it makes any sense in your individual circumstance. But we'd love to hear back from you. If you do get a quote and find out if it's better or worse or equal, please send us a comment. Let us know, because I'm sure everyone would be interested to know if this is something that could work for them.
Yeah. See, and I think one thing that other insurance companies would be able to offer, and that perhaps the Tesla-backed ones won't, would be things like bundles, multi-car households. If you bundle your car and your house and your boat and whatever, your RV, you get discounts for doing all of that. If you've been with the same company for many years or decades, sometimes they'll give you discounts for that. So I have to wonder if you get a quote from Tesla and you say, I want to insure my Tesla. To them, that's a one-off thing, but you're comparing it to a quote that you have from the insurance company that perhaps is also insuring the other things, and so your Tesla segment of your bundle is less expensive. I don't know that as a fact. I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility.
And one of the comments in the one of the blogs, someone asked the legitimate question is, well, I've got two cars. One's a Tesla and one is not a Tesla. Can I insure them both? Or, do I get a multi-vehicle discount? Can I insure a non-Tesla with the offering? So don't have a clear answer on that yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, we talked about AAA raising their insurance rates because the cost of repairing Teslas was significantly more than other cars. So, obviously this is something that Tesla's had in the works for a while. And Tesla wants to be able to address that to their customers, there's no bad thing about this. As long as the insurance they're offering is legitimate, even if it's more expensive, at least it gives their consumers another choice.
Yeah, it's good. As we all know, it is good to have choice, and choice benefits consumers.
Well, most of the time, yeah. Maybe not so much other times, but there's sometimes when you don't want to you don't want to shop your doctor. You just want to find a good doctor. You don't necessarily want to price shop that, but is it Geico or Progressive?
What, you guys have to pay for doctors?
All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm out.
Sorry. Didn't mean to.
That's it. That's it. It's over. Thank you. This show's going to be starting from Canada. Because we'll have died for lack of medical. Okay, Mark, take us away with the next story.
Sorry, guys. It just seemed like a legitimate question to me at the time.
No. If we if we scripted the show, you couldn't have come in with a better line. That was
last story I've got for today is about charge ports.
Yeah,
it was photographed recently on Electric and a couple of other sites that a Tesla that was for the Asian market had shown up with dual port chargers on it. So, currently, as most know, the charge port in a Tesla is behind the rear reflector on the driver's side door. It's a little triangle square that flips open to reveal the Tesla charger. But this particular photograph showed almost a gas cap type flap on the back of the driver's side, and it contained not only a Tesla charger, but in the photograph, a CHAdeMO Level 3 DC charger. So apparently, according to the article, this is basically due to the fact that China is requiring that electric vehicles have certain charge ports available, and what they're stating is they need that CHAdeMO charger, which is very prevalent in the country. So Tesla, in order to comply with it, will be making a car that will have this extra, or this new charge port area, because the one that's behind the reflector will no longer be there, and it will be this gas cap type flap that will be on the back quarter of the driver's side. The article also goes on to say that this may not just stay in China in order to keep things standardized and not have to have special runs or different types of back quarter panels. This may become the standard for all Tesla vehicles. Whether or not there's a dual charger is another question, but certainly the regular Tesla charger may be relocated to this gas cap type flap as opposed to where it is today in the rear reflector. So that would, of course, speed up production, and they wouldn't have to have special runs for Asian cars as opposed to North American cars. So it makes sense, although I'm sure some people will kind of be upset that the very cool flap on the reflector has gone so small and it just kind of hides everything really nicely. But I can see for efficiencies, they may change it.
I mean, is there anybody here that doesn't think this is a good idea?
Well, I don't. Is it a good idea? Well, certainly what they are doing is complying with regulation from another country.
Right.
But that's why they're doing it.
To deploy this in North America, where the supercharger network is the most dense. Ooh, I say that not really looking at the EU map, but assuming I'm right. I mean, it just seems like having an extra option isn't a bad thing.
Well, there is a question whether or not they will put a second charger in the North American cars, because that is an extra cost. Well, they may just keep it as the single charger, the normal Tesla charger in North America, because they're not regulated to do anything else.
But as a Tesla buyer,
as a Tesla buyer, it would be better to have a couple of choices.
Yeah, why not? I mean, again, if there isn't, or you can buy some silly adapter plug, right?
Yeah.
And I don't say silly to demean anyone's work who's actually gone and engineer that, but I mean, you could buy an adapter plug and then use these chargers, or you could pop open a little gas tank flap and go, oh, I get a choice, CCS or Tesla. Yay.
Yeah. It could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
And that would, that is a bonus to the Tesla owner, I would say. Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, do you know anything about, in the article, it said that the Chinese government developed its own charging standard, GB. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know it for a fact, but I'm assuming it's close to what the CHAdeMO, because it looks, in the picture, it looks very similar to a CHAdeMO charger port. It could be their own, but yeah, that's most likely what the picture is of the GB port, their specific one to China.
I was thinking here, if China is looking at being the world leader for electric vehicles, and I mean, right now we know that they have sold more electric vehicles inside China than pretty much the rest of the world. Why would they go inventing their own standard? I mean, I'm segueing. I'm going completely off the topic here, but just when I read that one sentence, it just occurred to me that that's just a silly, goofy thing to do. We already have a handful of standards, and then they go roll out a new one.
Because they can. You're right. I don't know why they would spend the engineering time to do it when unless there's patents or problems with picking it up in another country, why would you not go with what's already established?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Unless you get to collect a license on everything, and that makes somebody's cousin rich.
Well, that could be it too. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get all like conspiratorial or anything, but
yeah,
there are certainly, it doesn't seem to make sense. And I don't know why Tesla would want to run. Well, I guess when do they start producing in China? Because they're not manufacturing in China yet, are they?
Not manufactured, correct. Yeah, they're shipped there now. But they're, obviously Elon's been in talks with a number of different companies to, co-brand and build a Tesla factory there.
Right.
So it will happen, I'm sure, because like Tony mentioned, they are a huge market, bigger than any other market in the world. Why would they not want to be there producing cars and avoiding any excise tax or anything that may be applied currently? Because, of course, China wants you to build the cars in China.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. That makes sense.
My one last thought on this. Putting a flap on the side of the car, I bet that just tore Elon up.
Well, it's interesting you say that because when the Model 3 came out with their flap, people said, why is this so big for such a small plug, Tesla plug? Why is it? And there was some speculation at that point is maybe they will add a CCS to the car or a CHAdeMO. But it's kind of interesting now that this comes out after the fact. But some people were guessing with the flap being so big on the Model 3 that it made sense that there may be more than one.
Yeah, and it's certainly, again, just simplify production and make them all, the idea that there has to be a different version for every country. it certainly can't make production any easier.
No, it doesn't. It can't. It just complex.
Yeah.
Makes it more complex for sure.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys know or if you've seen, but the Prius Prime, that I have has definitely room for 2 plugs. I'm trying to find a picture real quick. I went to the website instead of the picture.
Yeah, I noticed that at the auto show. I remember asking you guys about it being such a large
Where is it? There it is.
flap compared to what was inside of it.
Yeah, so here we go. So I just found it, and so I just went on the share. Yeah, so you can clearly see it. It's got this huge flap on the side. The one on the left is what I plug in my J1772. The one on the right currently just holds the it holds the cover while it's charging. But clearly, it's obvious that Toyota could easily put a second charge there, and I'm sure in some countries they probably do.
Maybe that's part of the China getting ready as well. That certainly could be part of it.
That's the story I tell people anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if only there was just one more story today.
Nope.
Oh.
There is one more story. Just one more story.
Wait, there's more.
This was just sent to us by our friend Patrick Connor.
Your friend, not mine.
Yeah, well, okay. Our frenemy, Patrick Connor, has sent a note in that Tesla has just revealed, or it's been revealed inadvertently, that the Model 3 will get some free charging ability on the Supercharger network, similar to what was announced with the S and the X previously, where you got what's the amount? 400
hours. Yes.
400 kilowatt hours, which is, they equate to one long trip a year, or maybe a couple of shorter or medium trips a year. So someone was asked if the Model 3 will have this access, and Gary, who was asked, and Gary is I don't know who Gary is. He works for Tesla, but he was prompted with, will it have this ability? And Gary replied back into the affirmative that yes, it would have the ability to get 400 kilowatts of supercharging credit per year for your Model 3. So we'll get some free use of the Supercharger network after all. And then after that, of course, it will be paid through the system as well. So that's good to know. We thought that may be the case. You can use Russell's credit card if you like, though. I'm sure
Absolutely.
He does not mind.
Yeah, tons of open to buy on all those cards. But I mean, so it's nice that they're throwing a bonus.
I think it's a great PR ability to have that card to do a trip a year and get it for free using the Supercharger network, because it's such a valuable asset to Tesla, as we've mentioned before, to be able to know it, to use it, to understand it. Every Tesla driver should be able to do so. And kudos to Tesla for rolling it out to the Model 3 as well.
I do kind of think that perhaps it is as much a marketing technique as it is, them being really nice to their owners. Because if you know it's free, you're going to use it.
Yep.
And once you see it, and once you use it, and once you understand the simplicity of using it and the convenience of having it, you're most likely going to use it more, even as a pay-as-you-go, or perhaps pay for unlimited usage or whatever. I mean, so I think that it is part of them pulling in more revenue by giving people a taste of what they could have.
Yeah, although Elon has always said that it's going to be more of a break-even type scenario for the superchargers. They're not going to be charging real high profit margins on it because they're trying to use it as we've mentioned, it's an asset to the entire network. It's an asset to everybody that has a Tesla. But you're right, there's some profit built into it. There has to be, because if it's free, which Tesla has noticed with their S and the X, is that sometimes you get abusers. You get a lot of people that will use it as a business. They're running people back and forth to airports, or they're using the cars as taxis, and they've got a free fuel source that they've been, really using in a way that it wasn't designed to be used.
Right.
Yeah, and although again Tesla, kind of opened themselves up to this problem by saying free charging for life.
Yeah.
Not free charging when you're on the road and you need it. Not, it was free charging for life.
But that again, that's part of the marketing too. It's like, wow, did they just say that? Did they actually say that the car is free charging for life? Even if I was to sell the car, the next person gets free charging for life. Like, that's fabulous. Like, no wonder you're right. They kind of bit themselves with it, with the popularity, but man, it's a great marketing tool.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
Let's do some shout outs and go home, gentlemen. Tony, can I start with you?
You can try.
Good point. Thank you, Tony. That was great.
Of course, I want to give a shout out to all the happy, sexy, intelligent people in our chat room every week. So that's Matt, that's JT, that's Lee. It's me. Hey, I'm in the chat room.
So you're giving a shout out to yourself.
Well, I'm the sexy part. Yes. Everyone else, the happy, the intelligent. David, of course. Guys, thanks for some of them were actually giving me stuff to say, so reminding me of things. So it's good to have people in the chat room who are just as up to date and up to speed, because I forget to say things, they bring it up, and I can throw it in the conversation. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate having you with us every week.
Absolutely. Couldn't do it without you. Mr. Coughlin.
As mentioned in an earlier story, the insurance company in Canada that is doing the Tesla insurance is Aviva, A-V-I-V-A. And Aviva runs a program every year. It's called a community fund. And what they do is they offer a couple of cash prizes to community members that come up with a great idea and want to run with it. So they basically give them a grant of either $50,000 or $100,000 to do their proposal. This year, the EV Society of Ontario, which is a grouping of all the smaller groups out there, as the one that I'm belong to, the Waterloo Region EVA, this year they have tabled a website and application that they wish to build, which will allow prospective EV owners to be put in contact with actual EV owners. So they can go on an app and they can indicate what interest they have in what vehicle, and the app will automatically link them up to a driver within their area or geographical area that owns that car, so that they can ask questions, maybe meet up with the person, see the car themselves, because we all know dealers don't do a great job of selling EVs. The owners are the ones that can really sell these things. So this application almost allows them to match up with people that have cars that they're interested in, to ask questions and see if the car would work for them. So if you have the chance to, please look up on Google Aviva Community Fund and register yourself and vote for the Trusted EVisor, Trusted EVisor. And help the cause out. There's only 1 day left of voting. They need to be in the top 5 in order to get into the final voting. So please help us out. And another app can be available for EV drivers to put more EVs in the driveway of people across anywhere, but starting in Ontario.
Yay. So it's like Tinder for EVs.
Well, I wasn't going that far, but I was going to leave it up to you to throw that in there. Yes.
Chevy Bolt, swipe left. i3, swipe left. Tesla, swipe right.
No. I don't know which way is the good way. Is left good or right?
I don't remember. I always swipe up.
You do not want to go there and try to figure that out on the fly.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
No experience with Tinder, thanks. So.
I got a lot of. I apparently got a lot of Grinder messages because I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh! I bet you did, you kid.
I am glad the show is almost over.
There we go. Well, any other shout outs? Let's see. You can follow us on Twitter at The Tesla Life.
Very good. Yeah. And then there's a Facebook one, but it's a little bit different.
Numeral 1.
Numeral 1 at the end of The Tesla Life.
The Tesla Life, numeral 1. And go to YouTube, search The Tesla Life Show, look for our fun red logo, and subscribe there. That way you don't ever have to look for it again. It just comes up, and you get notified when we do shows. And isn't
you could be in the chat room.
And there it is. It's ready. It's right in front of you.
Look at that.
Yeah. And if you get the notification when we go live, and you click that thing, and then suddenly you're in the chat room, and you can chat us up.
And you're here with that. And you can tell me what an idiot I am, because I don't get that enough. I'm not going to go into that on this show. But yeah. Hey, Tony, Mark, thank you. Nice job. Nice show tonight.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Russell.
You're done. My thanks to everybody in the chat room too, by the way. Thanks for coming on and helping out. Our thanks, as always, to Lee Moon, who composed, performed, and lets us use our theme music for absolutely nothing. Since we make nothing, Lee, thank you for hitting our budget.
I have
yeah,
I promised him all of my revenues from this show.
Did you?
Yes.
Someday you're going to hate that.
It's not in writing.
But probably not. Yeah. You say it's not in writing? I like that.
It's on video right now.
Damn it. Is this still on?
Yeah. I don't think this Anyway, thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to everybody watching and listening. And definitely tune in next week and find out what is happening in the Tesla life.